Well, this is JC. I have a little special poem here for today. As some of you probably know, it's been 1 year today since my wife, Donna Lee, went to heaven, and it's sort of I don't know, a good day and a bad day, I guess, mostly a bad day, but at least I'm able to face it. But the thing about it is I was going through some of our things, and you know, Donna was a little bit of a poet too. I had read this poem before, but I didn't remember it until I found it here. This is a poem she wrote, and she also wrote how specifically we met each other, or the person who was responsible for it, who was my niece Phyllis. I was down at the river, Stanislaus River, over on the other side of the river, getting ready to do a swan dive off the bank, and my kids were in the water, and this lady was on the other side of in the sand with a blanket down, and her two kids were in the water, and I hadn't paid a lot of attention to her, to be honest with you. I was too busy swimming. I always loved the water, loved to swim. But my niece Phyllis was there. Well, you know, Phyllis is from California, but to hear her talk, you'd think she's from way down south, because that's the way she talks all the time, and it's so cute. And I got ready to do my swan dive, and Phyllis raised her hand up, and she said, Uncle James, said, here's somebody I want you to meet. And so I didn't know what to think about that, but I went ahead and did my swan dive off the bank. I guess it came out all right. I didn't belly flop anyhow. And swam over to the bank and got out and walked over to where my niece was, and she said, Uncle James, I want you to meet this lady. Her name's Donna, and she's not married either. I said, well, Phyllis, for crying out loud, there's nothing like embarrassing a person. Anyhow, I stood there and I poked holes in the dirt with my toe for a few minutes, and Donna, she didn't know what to think, and she finally said, well, you may as well sit down now and get it over with. And so I sat down, and I'm going to tell you, folks, the rest of it's history. It was the beginning of 38 years of fussing and fighting, but mostly happiness and bliss. Anyhow, and she wrote this poem sometime back, evidently about 6 years back, and I'll read it for you. It says, we vowed our love so warm and true on that special day when we said I do. So gentle and tender, always gay, I loved you more than words could say. But never knowing the price we'd pay, 6 years have passed since that special day. Round and round like a merry-go-round, we've had our ups and we've had our downs. We've traveled from town to town, never having both feet on the ground. With 5 kids to raise since they were small, and to see them now all growing so tall, I know we've been together through thick and thin, and at times, oh, how hectic it has been. We had our fights, and I would leave. If only you knew how I would grieve. Sleepless nights from thinking of you, I never knew I could be so blue. Trying not to think of who'd take my place, or seeing the little grin upon her face. And when you'd call, I'd pretend to be mad. But underneath, I was really glad. So now I am back at home again, forgetting how unhappy I had been. This is a poem she wrote after she made a few trips home to Mama after we had our fights, but she would be there, and her mother would say, Donna Lee, if you're going to stay here, you're going to have to get a job and go to work. And her dad stepped up and said, honey, Dorothy, Donna's not going to work. And her mother would say, well, why not? And her dad would say, Donna's going to sit right by that phone and wait for Jim to call. And you know what? He was right. She always did. I always called. She was gone 4 days one time, and it seemed like an eternity. I called up, and Dorothy, her mother, answered the phone, and I said, I'd like to speak to Donna. And Dorothy said, I don't think she wants to talk to you. And I said, well, Dorothy, if you don't mind, I'd like to hear her say that herself. And so she gave her the phone, and Donna said, hello. And I said, hi, how you doing? And she said, oh, pretty good, I guess. And I said, how long will it take you to get home? She said, about 2 days. I told her, all right, honey, I'll see you when I got here. And she came home, and we lived happily ever after, more or less. It was interesting, but it was mostly happiness. Thank you very much.